Welcome to the Travel Agency New Year podcast. And we are on day 70. I don't know why I said podcast, like podcasts. That is not my voice. Today's episode is going to be about comparison. I titled it in my notes, Comparison is the Thief of Joy. However, it is important to understand your competition. So we're going to talk about the difference between comparing yourself to everyone else and understanding and learning the competition you have and the gaps that you might be able to fill in compared to your competition. We do talk about this, I think, a little more in depth with the Sweet Spot to Success course at elevatewithrachelk.com. It's $47. You get the workbooks. You got to study your competition, but don't. Comparison is the thief of joy. Remember that. Nobody said that being a travel advisor is full of joy. Okay. It is simple. It is not easy. The importance of knowing your competition versus comparing and cutting out all the noise of seeing them on socials and maybe you go to their social media platform, their agency's profile, whatever. So you're like, oh, I wonder what kind of content they produce. Do not compare yourself and be like, well, their lighting's so much better and da 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 da. And oh, they get to travel all these places and oh, look at all the comments they have and they have so many followers. Followers is not equal. That's all vanity metrics, first of all. That doesn't mean they're actually doing anything. They probably are, but don't let that get to you. You got to cut out that noise. You need to focus on your own benchmarks, and you are only looking at your competition to see where you can fill in the gaps that you notice that is missing in their business for your ICA. Why would your ICA choose you over your biggest competitor? If your competitor is like high performing, and you're brand newbie and you just decide, because honestly, I did this when I was like, I'm going to do destination weddings. I'm like, who's the biggest name? I'm going to get up there and I'm going to do more than them, more than what they do for their clients. Anyway, think of your competitor as like a possible future you. Don't think of them as like all of us in the travel industry, we're not like magic gurus that just know everything. The ones that are like high performing. No, we all busted our asses. We all worked very hard to get where we are. And you want to see that it's possible. Like there are I don't even want to the background. There's no special degree that you need to get in college. It's just hard work, dedication, and organization, right? So think of your competitor more of as a future you. If they've been in the industry for a few years longer than you, know that where you are now isn't going to align with where they are now, but you could be where they are now in a few years if you just put in the work. That should help you with your mindset if you do have a high performing competitor in your mind that you want to aspire to be like. Like think of it as aspiration and inspiration, not comparison. Okay. Like, oh, I really like how they do their branding. How can I tweak this a little bit to fit with my branding? Or I really like how they have this process, but I can add to it by adding this to my process. It's not, oh, well, they're just better than me. No, we're all nothing special. We're all the same human beings. I'm not going to reference Pete Holmes' comedy, but I kind of want to right now. All right, choose an agency that you're curious about aspiring to be like, and you're going to do some research on them. Okay. You want to kind of review, like if it's an agency that's in the same niche as you, or that the niche that you're starting into, to look at how they've got their website set up. What do their lead magnets look like? How often are they posting on social? What social platforms are they on? Are they aligned with your ICA or are they aligned with a completely different ICA in the same niche? But also, don't copy them 100%. That's no. Don't do that. Just look and see how they do things compared to how you want to have things because you can always improve. And if someone is making multiple six and seven figures, they're doing something right, right? So it doesn't hurt to see how they're doing things. Okay. Just don't copy it 100%. Don't like copy their website copy and be like, this is my website now. Okay. Like that. Be careful with that. Okay. If you look at their marketing strategy and like maybe look at their website, you can kind of glean what their communication philosophy is. If you are just coming into this podcast, there's an episode. Let me go in my notes here. I think it's 10 days ago. Beep, bop, boop. I think day 54. Nope, that's helped. Where's the communication philosophy? Anyway, somewhere in the 50s, we talk about communication philosophy. You should be able to glean what their philosophy is, what their boundaries are, how they work. Is there anything that's inspirational for you to maybe tweak your processes? Like, do they require a call to be scheduled? Do they only communicate via email? Or are they available 24/7? And you're like, yeesh, not doing that. Okay. I would never do I would never be like, I'm available 24/7. No. All right, stop. Do not get envious. Do not judge yourself or what the competitor is or isn't doing. Remember, it is your competition. And if they are someone that you are like, I'm inspired by them, they're doing something right and what works for them. Okay. It doesn't mean that you need to judge them and be like, well, they do this. And you also don't need to get envious. Like if you are broke AF and you're like, I have to build my own website, I can't even afford to hire someone. And you go on their site and scroll down and it's like made by blah, blah, blah company. And you know that that's going to be like several $1,000s that you don't have. Don't get envious about that. They didn't start out with that. The only comparison that you're going to make when you are doing your research with your competition. Are their values similar to yours? What's different in their values? Okay. What is different about their audience? And what is different about their niche? So there is plenty of business for everyone. And we all don't have identical values. We all don't have an identical audience. We all don't have a 100% identical niche. You can still be successful if, okay, I want you to get this out of your brain. If we were all supposed to be 100% identical, we would all look exactly the same. We would all have one set biological sex or gender. So why are you putting that in your brain for your business comparing? You know what I mean? But you want to note what the differences are because if you are doing things right down the road, eventually your competition will legitimately be your competition. And your leads will say, I'm between you and they will mention the agency, which may be your biggest competitor in your brain that you've been aspiring to be. Congratulations. Even if you don't close the sale, you're in the same boat as them in terms of how leads and clients view you. Good job. But also, if you have an understanding of what your competitor is like and what your differences are, then you can explain. Don't be like, don't go with them. They smell like, I don't know what smells bad right now. They smell bad. But you can say, okay, well, I just want to let you know. Let me reiterate what I can do for you. And that, remember, I talked about filling the gaps. That's when you're going to highlight the gaps because then they can go back to the competition and the competition will be like, well, it's this, this, and this. And then it's a matter of that lead's personal values, not your values, but the lead's personal values. Who do they align with most? And then they're going to make a decision. And you can't be offended by it. It's okay. It's just like dating. You could take someone on a nice date and they could be like, well, I am seeing somebody else and they're the same religion as me, or they want children and you don't, right? It's okay. Well, have a nice life. Bye. It's fine. I'm going to stress this again. Everyone is unique. Please do not rip off another travel advisor's hard work, the copy they have written, or hired somebody to write for them that's on their website. Don't copy blogs. I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but I still see it every once in a while. People just like copying word for word blog posts and then posting it on their own blog. And I'm like, what? Anyway, don't do that because if you are aspiring to be that competitor and then this random lead that I just mentioned in the last example is reviewing both, they're going to be like, why is their wording exactly the same? Okay. You might be inspired to possibly revise an aspect of your business, your services, your processes after kind of doing some research on your competition. It could be as simple as your competitor has a white labeled link from a supplier. You can do that too. You know what I mean? Like, what if they just have maybe on a link in bio page or on their homepage, like, get your travel insurance policy? There's nothing, I mean, I know many, many agents who do that sort of thing with a lot of different suppliers and products. So there's nothing wrong with anything like that. Just don't rip them off 100% with their wording. Don't take posts that they've made on social media. Don't steal their images. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't do that. So how does this not real full comparison, not getting envious, but how can this looking at your competition help you and your business? It You're going to fill in the gaps. You will be able to find where you can improve your own service strategy. You may be inspired to do so based on doing research with this company and being like, oh, wow, they do this. And it's like a 5-second workflow automation I can set up. I could do that. And it's going to help me have better service. And then you just write your own little workflow and be done. Right. Conversely, you might be like, oh, they don't do this. And I already know how that I'm doing this. So you could focus on that gap that you fill as part of your promotional and marketing strategy. You can set more realistic revenue goals. I'm trying to read my chicken scratches over here. But you can set more realistic revenue goals if you have an idea of their sales volume and how long they've been in the industry and how their business is set up. Do they have a bunch of VAs working for them? Do they have a bunch of employees working for them? Do they just market and close sales or are they just like a one man band? Because there are a lot of high performing agencies that are like a whole mix of a bunch of these things. So that can give you an idea of what realistic revenue goals can be for you, especially if you're brand newbie and you don't have staff and you don't have the income coming into your household to fund staff. So all you have to do is market. Number 3, it can keep you motivated in a slump if you have it kind of reminds me of those. I feel like it was originated in a Rocky film, but like every cartoon, there's like a Simpsons episode from way back in the day, like 1990, where Bart is in a mini golf competition with Todd Flanders. And he's got like a picture of him in his mirror and he just stares at him and he's like, I'm gonna beat you. Like you could use your competition as like motivation when you're in a slump and just okay, I'm going to give you the most ridiculous story here in a second, but use that as inspiration to get you out of that slump and be like, no, I can do what they're doing. I can keep going. So, fun little family story. When I was growing up, I have a little sister and we had to share a bedroom. And she's 3 years younger than me. And I was probably like 7 or 8. Full House was all over TGIF. And my sister was like 4 and she would never clean. She would never clean our bedroom. She was like, I don't know how to pick a book up and put it on the shelf. Like, and then my parents would be like, you have to clean your room. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. We're doing this together. This is half your mess too, ma'am. The way that I got her motivated, she loved Full House and she loved Danny Tanner. And there were 2 of us. And so I would be like, you want to race? You want to race Danny Tanner twins? And I just created these imaginary Danny Tanner twins from Full House who could clean super duper fast. And they did a very good job. And they would like fold their clothes right and everything would be perfect because it was Danny Tanner from Full House. This is so weird. I'm telling you, it's a story, but I'd be like, we gotta go. We're racing against the Danny Tanner twins. And she would just jump up out of the bed and start running around and picking everything up. And she'd do such a good job when she knew she was racing against Danny Tanner twins. And then I'd be like, oh, the bed's already made over there. Like, it was so ridiculous. Because I just was like, it's the exact same room, it's the exact same mess, and we are now in competition. We also watched a lot of Double Dare, by the way. So we were kind of competitive kids, but you can do the same thing. Like when you're in a slump and you're like, I just don't want to post this content, think of your biggest competitor and be like, well, they're posting content. They are going to get more leads. And it's just me having a hard time right now. Maybe take a 15-minute reset and then come back. And I want to be on their level or maybe even surpass them. You know what I mean? Because we all have the opportunity to make a very generous living in the travel industry. Also know that. All right. Hope you enjoyed that weird Danny Tanner story about my little sister. If you know someone that's stuck on the comparison bus, share this episode with them. If you are in that position, stop that noise, get the social media off your computer or hide the apps on your phone, whatever it is you need to do, because comparison is the thief of joy, and the right kind of market research and competition study can absolutely help you grow your business. All right. Have a good day.